Did you know that TfL have already begun the process of closing all 301 ticket offices on the Underground in London? In 2008, Boris Johnson said that no ticket offices would be closed. And yet, by the start of next year, almost all of London's tube stations will no longer have a ticket office. The Mayor has also decided to cut 900 members of staff from the London Underground. This means that there will be fewer staff on the station to assist passengers who need extra help.
In this episode, I'll be talking to passengers, people with disabilities, who are likely to be most affected by the closure of the ticket offices and the removal of staff from London Underground. I'm going to be meeting Mike Theobald, who has been campaigning with Transport for All, an independent charity, for better tube access, for better accessibility for more than a couple of decades now.
The difficulties on the Underground for me, more than anything else, are the announcements, because I do not hear any of them. They're just muffled noises. I can't lip read anybody or anything like that. And I dare not ask any other passenger because I don't know what answer they will give me. So when the driver gives an announcement, I just look at people's faces, and that's the best I can do. I become serious if it's an emergency because I wouldn't know what to do. I just follow the crowd. From the simplest announcement to the most complicated one. Some of the more modern trains put some things up, but it's not exactly what the driver says. So we don't really get the full picture. We were left out of the whole situation. Every time a ticket office is closed, I lose the facility of a loop system. Now, the loop system is good for us who have hearing aids with T-switches, because we put it on a T-switch and we just hear the person on the other side. We don't hear all the background noise, and it's very clear. And it works very well. Now, when I go to a station that's got no ticket office, I know straight away there's no facility for a loop, so I can't use the T-switch.
With 900 members of staff leaving London Underground over the next year, there are significant concerns about how passengers who are disabled or have mobility issues will get help and assistance when they need it. I went to Kilburn to talk to Jeff Harvey, who has been campaigning to improve accessibility for years. Kilburn Tube Station recently got a manual boarding ramp, which means Jeff can board the tube. However, this heavily relies on there being staff around to help Jeff out.
One thing about the tube is that 75% of it just isn't accessible if you need steps, and or can't deal with steps. So that's a big problem. Anytime I'm going somewhere, I try to think what's the nearest step-free stop, and so I'm trying to map it out in my mind. And then the alternative is the bus, and I have to also use the bus from like accessible stations. And that has its own set of problems with, ramps that don't work on a bus, or drivers who don't let me on, or a space is already occupied by a pram, and the people refuse to move, or the driver doesn't even ask them to. So that's another set of problems, and that's one reason I really like going on the Underground when I can. Not only is it faster, but I'm kind of an equal member there. On a bus, there's one place I can go. On an Underground, I can go anywhere in the train. I'm kind of travel freely.
What do you think about Transport for London's programme of cutting 900 staff out of London Underground in the next year?
I'm quite concerned about it. I know they claim that they're, shifting people around and there's going to be more visible staff. But already there have been times when I have to wait for a member of staff to be available to use the ramp, or look around to find somebody, even just to get through the gate. And with the closing of ticket offices, that's also a concern. It was always a place that you could go to find somebody to help. And they say visible members of staff, but if you have a visual impairment, you may not know where those visible members of staff are. And the ticket office was always a nice place you could go and find somebody. And if the member of staff is inside the gate, I may not be able to get to them or get their attention. So having adequate staff is really important for me to be able to travel.
It's clear from talking to Jeff and Mike that passengers who need extra help are set to lose the most from these changes. I don't want to see a lack of staffing mean that Londoners such as Jeff and Mike are left unable to use the tube and no longer enjoy the fantastic benefits of living in London. If you experience any changes to your journey in the coming months, or you'd like to send me a personal account of the challenges you face with accessibility on the London Underground, you can email me with your story at tubeconcern@gmail.com. And if you experience any difficulty in travelling, make sure you let Transport for London know. You can write to them at TfL Customer Services, 4th floor, 14 Pier Walk, London SE10 OES, or go to www.tfl.gov.uk/contact. We want to hear from you and make sure that London's transport remains accessible for any Londoner.